Hi everyone, this is Koinzell here. So I have today for you guys a video where I will compare Childe being the driver in the mono hydro Yelan comp versus Yelan being the main driver. So with Yelan being the main driver, obviously we have a Xingqiu, and I'll just quickly show my Xingqiu stats, my Yelan stats, as well as my Childe stats before we look at the two rotations. In fact, I will redo the Yelan mono hydro comp to streamline it, because if you notice on my previous comp, the E wasn't really necessary on the Kazuha, and we could have cast Zhongli Shield before engaging Raiden, and that's what I have done for these two rotations now. Okay, so these are the Xingqiu stats. My CRCD, my CRCD isn't that great because I'm using Skyward Blade. Because I don't have PJC. Somehow the weapon has eluded me, so yeah, we are using a Skyward Blade here. Poppy's Emblem, C6, Talents 12, 12, 12. Or rather 1, 12, 12. And this is Yelan, Triple Crown, C6, 2 HOD, 2 Tenacity, R1 Aqua, and these are the stats. Now remember, all of these stats is before we take the 20 CR foot, and in the rotation I will be taking the 20 CR foot, okay, just to make things simpler, as with all my rotation videos. So this is the CRCD, the HP, the ER, etc. Let me just switch Childe in, so that's more accurate. Okay, now Childe is in the comp. This is my Childe stats. Again, this is before the 20 CR foot, yeah? Okay, and this is the best I can... This is pretty much the best I can get for him in terms of artifacts, because he doesn't have crit rate ascension stat, unlike Yelan. Okay, his ascension stat is hydro damage bonus, and he is using a weapon with lesser crit damage, but it is still a better weapon for him per se. And we are using R1 Thundering Pulse here. 4-piece Shime, C5 because you don't really need C6 Childe if you manage the manage the E timing properly. Okay, and these are his stats, or rather his talents. Now let's look at the rotation itself. I'll start with a rerun of the mono hydro with Yelan Xingqiu, then we'll do the Childe Yelan, and we'll do a quick comparison. Alright? Okay, so this is the run, and we have a timer here, okay? Now let's go through it. Like I said, Zhongli Shield we cast first. We don't use Kazuha E because it's not required, at least for against Raiden, or any single target for that matter. This is one thing I like the most about Yelan. You don't need to look at the enemy. Just spam your normal attacks with all the Q procs present. Okay, so this is 20 seconds, 40 milliseconds. So let's look at the Childe next. Okay, Childe next, Childe with Yelan, which makes sense, right? In order for me to keep things more or less consistent. Let's go. The setup is pretty much the same, and it differs now. We use Yelan first, then Childe, and I'll use the C6 Yelan effect, otherwise it's not going to be a fair comparison. Okay, now we use Childe, do M5C combo because this is a Shime Thundering Pulse Childe. Okay, so 23 seconds, then 3.07 seconds. So Yelan is slightly better, but there are other reasons for that, and I'll talk about it now. Alright, so quite simply put, right, this is what just a quick simple compilation, or rather just comparing the result. So we have 20.4 versus 23.07 seconds. And rotation wise, I've tried to make it as similar as possible. In fact, there are some factors that favor either rotation, but let's be clear, okay? This is not a debate on whether Childe is better or Yelan is better. This is just simply the driver. Who is the better driver in the mono hydro comp? And from this, you can say that Yelan is the better driver than Childe. But Childe does have his burst, which I did not use. Yeah? Because if I use his burst, we are wasting the Q procs on Yelan. Okay? And the other thing is that I think at least from this, right, it shows clearly that even if you use Childe as a driver, even if the timing is slightly longer, it's still very feasible, right? We are still taking Raiden down before she enters the second phase with a C6 Yelan and a C5 Childe. So effectively, if you want to use Childe instead of Xingqiu because you want to put your Xingqiu in another comp, like second team being like Huta or Yomiya, that's perfectly fine, right? But if you're going for full optimization on your Yelan and you don't need to use your Xingqiu in any other comp, obviously the Mono Hydro with Yelan and Xingqiu would be the better option here. And more importantly, I think the most important thing is that you can just spam your normal attacks. Just spam your normal attacks and Raiden just dies off screen. While I was doing the rerun of these rotations, I can tell you guys that I ended up killing Raiden a lot of times off screen. I'm not even looking at her when she's not in my screen. All I do is just spam my normal attacks, and normal attacks auto homing or auto targeting along with the Q procs basically takes her down. So it's nice and easy. Oh, and one thing I gotta say is that for the Childe rotation, right, it happens to go into the timing wise, because it's slightly longer, it does happen to go into the threshold of Raiden sometimes using her illusions. I mean, this is a perfect case where she did not use her rotations. She did not use her illusions, but once she uses her illusions, then it wastes a lot of time. You basically need to repeat your rotation, to set up all the VV, swirl, etc. So yeah, you can do it with Childe, but it cuts a little close, but it's definitely feasible. Okay, I know that a lot of people may think that with Childe, right, if your Childe has good damage, then in theory it should do better. But gotta remember that Xingqiu's damage is not bad. That's number one. Number two is also that Xingqiu's Q proc has a C2. Since C2 Xingqiu has a hydro resistance threat as well. That's the key reason. Because it buffs Xingqiu's damage, it buffs Yelan's damage as well. Okay, but yeah, to be fair, I did not use Childe's Q because my Childe's Q, I actually don't feel like it's that high of a damage, especially because I lose out on the Q procs on Yelan. It's worse off, to be honest, because you gotta understand that you're not in a vaporized one-time setup comp to maximize his burst as a one-shot high damage burst. It's not. You are in a mono hydro comp, so that Q, especially if you use it as a range Q, not melee Q, the damage is actually not as worthwhile as you would think, especially compared to these Yelan Q procs. Alright, so anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I hope this content has been helpful to you. If you like the content, review video and click subscribe for more. Bye.